Hello, today we're demonstrating at Sign an integration between Salesforce and Zoho Sign. First, I'll show you its functionality, then we'll explore the setup. Included in our package is the @Sign component, which can be installed on any Salesforce record page to provide users with direct access to key functionalities. Administrators can easily add this component by using the Salesforce Page Builder and dragging and dropping the @Sign component onto the page. A significant benefit is its configurability, allowing you to choose which actions users can perform from the component, such as sending contracts, sharing links, creating forms, downloading contracts, and other related tasks. Here we install the component on the contact record page, with all the features enabled. You can use the component to send out new contracts, forms, or link existing contracts. Within the main display area of the @Sign component, you will see a list of all contracts and sign forms associated with the current Salesforce record. You can click on any individual item in this list to open it and view more detailed information. When you open an individual item, you can view the current progress of its signing process. The display also clearly shows when the signing request will expire and the overall status of the signing procedure. In this case, Jane Doe and the Ask Me Corporation has signed it. It has a green indicator here, and we can view the contract by clicking the View button. This will open a pop-up where we can see the signed contract. If there are multiple PDFs in the sign template, you will see them appear here on the left. We can also download the documents or download the signing certificates. Next, let's explore how to work with Zoho Sign templates. For this demonstration, I'll guide you through editing an existing employment contract template. The very first step in this process is to upload your documents. Then you can configure the recipients. We work with roles because we will fill in the information of the signers in Salesforce. Next, you will need to configure settings for the signers. This involves first selecting the signing type required for each signer, and then choosing the notification type each signer should receive regarding the document. Now we are going to edit the document itself. On the right, you can see 3 roles, pre-filled by you, employee, and HR. The fields of the role pre-filled by you will need to be filled in before sending the contract. The fields of the roles need to be filled in by the person itself. The values of the pre-filled by you fields can be mapped from Salesforce data. In the template, you can recognize the fields by the color of the role. After setting up your template in Zoho Sign, you can proceed with creating sign mappings. This process connects a Zoho template with a Salesforce object. For instance, consider the employment contract template. First, choose the template, then decide which object type it should be used with. It could be a contact, a lead, an account, etc. You will then select the Salesforce status to be applied to a contract once it's fully signed. For example, you might choose completed if the contract requires subsequent manual review, or done if no further action is needed post-signing. This status is primarily for use within Salesforce, allowing you to effectively filter contracts and identify those that need attention. Visually, this distinction is represented in the component by the color blue for completed and green for done. In the contextual data section, you configure how data is mapped between Salesforce and your Zoho document templates. This section typically presents at least one default mapping line, the mapping to the selected object type. For example, you can set up request mapping to define how Salesforce data populates your Zoho template when a contract is sent. In the Signers section, you need to map the name and email of the roles to Salesforce data or static values. In this example, for the employee, we reference it to the Salesforce contract full name field. For the employee email, it's the email field of the contact. But for HR, for example, we want to use a static value. Then we can also map the fields that are marked as pre-filled by you in Zoho Sign. For example, we map the company as reference to the name of the account. Result mapping addresses the use case where data entered into a contract needs to be saved back to your Salesforce records. For example, if a contract requires signers to fill out certain fields, this feature enables you to capture that inputted information and automatically update the relevant contact record or other related objects in Salesforce. You can add multiple lines here. When you need data from other objects that are related by a many-to-many or one-to-many relations, the system allows for the integration of data from related Salesforce objects directly into your contracts. For instance, you might use information from a specific work order. When preparing to send such a contract, the user will first need to select the relevant work order instance. To make this selection more manageable, administrators can apply filters to the list of choices, such as limiting it to show only work orders with an in-progress status. Importantly, the full suite of mapping capabilities, including request mapping for pulling data into the contract and result mapping for saving contract data back to Salesforce, can be configured for these chosen related objects, just as it can for the main object of the contract. We also offer a feature called Sign Forms. These forms are designed to help you collect necessary data from your clients before a contract is sent out. For example, if you're missing an employee's information needed for a contract, you can first send them a sign form. The employee fills out all the required details. Once the form is completed, it can be easily converted into the actual contract document. When you create a sign form, you'll enter our form builder. In this builder, you can easily design your form by dragging and dropping the required fields directly onto it. To structure the content and organize the layout, you can click the plus icon to create sections and containers. Additionally, you have the option to add titles to these containers or columns. If a title field is left empty, it will automatically be hidden on the final form, ensuring a clean appearance. To send a sign form, first navigate to the relevant object or record you wish to associate it with. From there, initiate the process for sending a new form and select the desired form by its name. You'll then have the option to set an expiry date for the recipient to respond. This often defaults to 14 days, but can be customized. Once the form is sent, its status will be marked as pending input until completed. When we save, you can see it appear in the widget. You can copy the link directly to the clipboard or navigate to the form request. You can see the link on the detail page and the relevant information. The link is only visible when the request is in the status pending input. When the status changes, the link will be invalidated. Sign forms can be deployed on a public page within your community portal, Salesforce Experience Cloud, for ease of access. To ensure security, each form link is tokenized, meaning only users who possess the unique link can view and interact with the form. Once accessed, the recipient, for example an employee, fills in the necessary details and completes the submission. Now that we filled out the form, we can refresh the page to see the changed values. Once the sign form is completed, you can convert it into a contract. To do this, use the designated button, typically located in the top right corner of your interface. Upon conversion, you'll see that the information submitted through the form is automatically pre-filled into the contract, aligning with the field mapping you previously defined. The @sign component is designed to be comprehensive, providing all the necessary information and tools. For improved clarity, we employ a color coding system to visually distinguish the status or source of data fields, and this system is consistently applied across both contracts and sign forms. For example, blue signifies items that have been completed by the client, whereas orange indicates fields that still require input from the client. To help you easily distinguish between item types, distinct icons are used for contracts and for sign forms. Furthermore, a dedicated dashboard enhances visibility into critical tasks and system statuses. This dashboard will clearly display alerts for any expired sign requests, highlight forms that are ready to be converted into contracts, and notify you of any synchronization errors. Last but not least, get ready for enhanced flexibility in your document workflows. We are currently developing a new feature that will allow you to send out ad hoc documents for signature, even those not set up as templates in Zoho Sign. Imagine this. You can upload any document, quickly define where signatures or data are needed, map relevant Salesforce information directly onto it, and send it off instantly. This means you can manage unique documents efficiently without the upfront requirement of creating a saved template or pre-configuring mappings in Zoho Sign. That concludes our demo for today. If you have any further questions or would like more information about specific features, please don't hesitate to let us know. You can also request a dedicated demo meeting to explore these in more detail.